The world paused. Literally paused. Screens froze. Notifications exploded. Social media timelines erupted with disbelief. And in that single moment, Prince Harry, a man whose life has been dissected under the unrelenting microscope of global media for decades, dropped a revelation so shocking it sent ripples through every corner of the world. Imagine hearing that a man who has publicly shown himself as devoted, loving, and protective of his family suddenly confessed that one of his children was not biologically his. It's a headline you would think belongs in a tabloid, not in a formal announcement from a prince. And yet, here it was, broadcast to millions, leaving everyone stunned, questioning everything they thought they knew about the royal family, family loyalty, and the boundaries of private versus public truth. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. But let's pause for a second. Try to imagine the moment from Harry's perspective. Picture him sitting in front of the camera, knowing that the words he's about to speak will ignite debate, criticism, sympathy, and outrage simultaneously. Picture the storm that will follow. Not only in tabloids and social media, but within the walls of Buckingham Palace, in Meghan's heart, and in the very lives of the children he's loved and protected. Prince Harry, a man whose every move has been catalogued from childhood, was about to shatter the public image of family perfection. And he said, "I never imagined I'd say this publicly." Those words alone carry a weight no royal speech has ever carried before. They are words of vulnerability, of fear, of inevitability. But what exactly did he mean? And how did it come to this? Before we dive into the shocking announcement, it's important to understand the context. Harry's life has never been simple. Born into privilege and scrutiny in equal measure, he grew up under the glare of constant cameras, with every misstep magnified and every triumph celebrated. His mother, Princess Diana, died tragically when he was only 12. That loss, sudden, violent, and public, shaped not just Harry's worldview, but also his approach to trust, family, and media. It created a man who is intensely private, fiercely protective, and yet unavoidably public. Now, decades later, that same man, known for exposing royal secrets and advocating for mental health and personal transparency, was delivering a revelation that would forever alter the narrative around his own family. The news arrived in a format familiar to the modern world. A video statement uploaded online, intended to reach millions in seconds. Within minutes, the hashtags were trending. Memes appeared. Experts scrambled to comment. Journalists typed furiously. And in households across the globe, people leaned forward, eyes wide, hearts racing, as they tried to process what had just been said. DNA results reveal he's not the biological father of one child, the headline screamed. It was simple, brutal, undeniable. Yet, the human story beneath those words was anything but simple. Who was affected? How did Harry find out? And why choose this moment, now, to make it public? Harry himself seemed to wrestle with the weight of every word. His voice trembled slightly at first, before steadying into a tone that mixed resignation with determination. "I never imagined I'd say this publicly," he admitted. In that instant, the world felt both the fragility and the courage of a man who has always been larger than life, now confronting a deeply personal truth. You can almost hear the internal debate. Should he protect the privacy of his child? Should he shield the family from public scandal? Or is transparency worth the inevitable fallout? These are questions none of us can answer easily, and yet, millions are watching Harry navigate them in real time. And the child, the innocent at the center of this revelation, is now at the heart of a story they never asked to be part of. How does a parent process such news? How do siblings, extended family, and the world at large react? We must pause here to acknowledge that this is not just a tale of royalty and DNA tests. It's a human story, a story of love, betrayal, discovery, and the unavoidable collision between private pain and public spectacle. Imagine the quiet mornings that will never feel the same. Imagine the whispered conversations behind closed doors. The small, fragile moments of family life suddenly under a microscope. The weight of expectation, media scrutiny, and personal grief all colliding at once. This is the world Harry just entered, and there is no turning back. Yet, this announcement does not exist in isolation. To fully understand its impact, we need to place it within the broader narrative of Harry's life, a life filled with both triumphs and turbulence. He's a prince, yes, but he is also a son, a husband, a father, a brother, and a man who has spent years navigating the impossible balance between duty and personal happiness. He left the royal family in a move unprecedented in modern times, seeking a life free from the relentless scrutiny that defined his childhood. He has been open about his mental health struggles, his grief over Diana's death, and the pressures of living in a world where every personal choice is subject to public commentary. And now, he faces a revelation that will test every lesson he has learned about privacy, family, and resilience. But let's not overlook the timing. Why now? Why choose this moment to reveal what could have been kept private? There are layers to this story that are still hidden from public view, and understanding them requires looking at the threads of Harry's recent life, his interviews, his memoirs, the tensions with his family, and the public perception of his marriage to Meghan Markle. Every action, every statement, every choice has been carefully scrutinized, and yet, even in that landscape of transparency, a truth like this can still shock the world. There is irony here. A man who has spent years opening up about his own struggles is now opening up about something even more personal, something that will ripple across generations. The world is asking questions. Which child is affected? How did the revelation come about? How did Meghan respond? How did the rest of the royal family react? And most importantly, what happens next? These questions drive engagement because they are not merely speculative. They are deeply human. They touch on the universal fears of betrayal, loss, and the fragility of family bonds. They make us ask ourselves, what would we do in Harry's position? Would we reveal the truth, even at the cost of public scrutiny? Or would we protect the family at the expense of transparency? There is no easy answer, and the tension between public obligation and private loyalty is what makes this story so compelling. And there is a broader cultural context to consider. In an era of instant information, social media virality, and relentless 24-hour news cycles, nothing stays private for long. The revelation of Harry's DNA results is not merely a family scandal. It is a reflection of the times we live in, where the boundaries between public and private are constantly blurred. This is a world where every secret has a chance of becoming public, where the truth is as likely to be scrutinized as it is to be sensationalized. And Harry, whether he likes it or not, is living at the epicenter of that reality. His announcement is not just news. It is a cultural event, a collective moment of shock, curiosity, and reflection. Yet amid the shock and the headlines, it's essential to remember the human core of this story. There is a father grappling with a truth that shakes the foundation of his understanding of family. There is a child, innocent yet implicated, whose life has just been touched by a revelation that they cannot yet fully comprehend. There is a spouse, a sibling, and a wider family who must navigate the emotional fallout while the world watches. And through it all, there is Harry himself, a man who has lived his life under scrutiny, now forced to confront the most personal kind of exposure. The drama is real, the stakes are high, and the emotional resonance is undeniable. So what comes next? How will this revelation unfold? What secrets lie beneath the surface, waiting to emerge? And perhaps most importantly, how will Harry, Meghan, and the child navigate the storm that is about to hit? These are questions that will dominate headlines, social media feeds, and dinner table conversations for weeks, months, and potentially years to come. And they are questions that cannot be answered immediately because the story is still unfolding, still alive, and still very much human. For now, all we can do is watch, listen, and try to make sense of what has been revealed. The stage is set. The players are in motion. And one simple DNA test has turned a life of privilege, power, and public fascination into a story of vulnerability, heartbreak, and unimagined consequences. Prince Harry has opened the door to a truth that cannot be undone. And the world, eager for answers, can only step closer and wonder, what happens next? Which pieces of this puzzle will fall into place, and which will remain forever hidden in the shadows? But here's the twist that keeps everyone on edge. The announcement, while shocking, is only the beginning. Behind it lies a story of decisions, emotions, and events that no one outside of that inner circle truly understands. A story that will challenge assumptions, rewrite narratives, and force the public to confront questions about family, identity, and the complex interplay between truth and secrecy. And as we move forward in this series, chapter by chapter, the full picture will emerge, layer by layer, revelation by revelation. The world was scrolling, scrolling. Phones buzzed. Alerts chimed. And then, like a thunderclap splitting a quiet sky, the news broke. Prince Harry had made a statement that nobody, absolutely nobody, saw coming. Within seconds, the internet erupted. Notifications piled up like falling dominoes, each one louder than the last. Prince Harry confirms DNA results. One child is not his. Headlines flashed, tweets exploded, and hashtags went viral before most people could even comprehend the gravity of what they were reading. It was the kind of story that stops people mid-step, mid-bite, mid-conversation. People were freezing, staring at their screens, hearts pounding, mouths dry. How could this happen? How could a prince, a father, a man who has openly shared so much of his private life, reveal something so personal, so potentially devastating to the world? Let's rewind for a moment and set the stage. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, had been known for a lifetime of headlines, the kind you expect, the kind you don't. From royal scandals to charitable triumphs, from his mother's tragic death to his high-profile marriage to Meghan Markle, Harry's life has been an open book, a life lived under an unflinching lens of global scrutiny. But nothing in that lens could prepare the public, or perhaps even Harry himself, for this announcement. The words, as simple as they were, carried a weight unimaginable. A DNA test confirmed that one of my children is not biologically mine. Short, clinical, almost sterile in its phrasing, yet the emotional resonance behind those words was seismic. Imagine the room where Harry spoke. Lights dimmed for filming, cameras poised, microphones angled just right. He sat, hands perhaps folded, shoulders slightly tense, eyes flicking to the lens with a mix of vulnerability and resolve. The opening line hit like a shockwave. I never imagined I'd say this publicly. Pause. The slight tremor in his voice betrayed the enormity of what he was about to reveal. Millions watched, some with disbelief, others with empathy, and many with sheer, unfiltered shock. There it was, a private truth, now public, and irrevocably so. But what exactly does it mean to reveal something like this? It's not just a statement about biology. It's a story about trust, family bonds, and the collision between private lives and public attention. Harry's confession isn't made in a vacuum. There is history, there are relationships, there are stakes, personal, emotional, and public, that ripple outward from a single moment. And it's the human aspect that grips people hardest. A father grappling with a reality he could never have anticipated, a child unknowingly caught in the storm, and a spouse navigating the delicate balance between support and heartbreak. The world's reaction was instantaneous, visceral, and, in many ways, predictable. Social media exploded with theories, questions, and disbelief. News anchors stammered, struggling to find the right words for the unprecedented nature of this announcement. Celebrities, commentators, and fans alike weighed in, some offering support, some speculating wildly, and others outright criticizing. It was the perfect storm for virality, a combination of royal intrigue, family drama, and shocking human revelation. But amid the noise, there was a deeper, more compelling layer to this story, the emotional truth of Harry's experience. Because make no mistake, this is not just about headlines. This is about a man confronting a reality that challenges everything he believed about his family. Imagine receiving news like this. Imagine sitting in a room with your partner, your heart racing, your mind spinning, knowing that the private world you've built, the family you've loved, is about to be exposed to the world in a way that is utterly irreversible. The emotions are complex: grief, anger, confusion, guilt, protectiveness, and love all collide in a way that cannot be measured. And yet, Harry chose transparency. Why? Perhaps because he has always been guided by a sense of honesty. Perhaps because the truth, once discovered, has a way of forcing itself into the light, no matter how much one wishes otherwise. The announcement itself was brief but precise. Harry did not linger on speculation, did not indulge in conjecture. He stated the fact, acknowledged the emotional weight, and expressed his resolve to confront the situation with integrity. "I never imagined I'd say this publicly," he repeated, underscoring the personal difficulty of speaking such a truth to the world. And it was that combination, concise, factual, yet emotionally charged, that made the revelation both shocking and deeply human. People were not reacting merely to the information. They were reacting to Harry himself, the vulnerability, the courage, and the undeniable humanity of a man caught in an impossible situation. Then there's the media frenzy, which, predictably, took the revelation and amplified it to a level almost unimaginable. Headlines screamed for attention, sometimes twisting nuance into sensationalism. Analysts and commentators debated the implications, from the personal to the constitutional, from the social to the psychological. Every news outlet seemed to have an expert ready to weigh in, often contradicting each other, each attempting to frame the narrative in a way that would keep audiences glued. And yet, beneath the swirling chaos of media coverage, there remained a core truth. A father had been confronted with a DNA result that challenged his most fundamental understanding of his family, and he had chosen to share it with the world.